Hey guys, running a little late. All right, guys. Sorry about that. Here we are here. Let's get started here. Bum, bum, bum. Okay, good. So that's up. And where are we here? All right, good. Yay. No bonding. Hold on. Yay. All right, good. There is a litany to go over, a variable litany of stuff to go over. So let's start and let's dig in because there's a bunch of stuff to go over, like a bunch. I actually redid this morning. I had to redo the private video just because of what's going on. All right, so let's start with the basics. I see the econ data. We'll get to it, but there's some things you need to be aware of. So yesterday I was talking to somebody, and this is one of the reasons why I avoid Twitter, but I was talking to someone and I'm like, we don't have any panic. And they're like, well, the VIX is up 20%. It's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. This is where your peaks are. If you look at if you look at your peaks, God, I sound grumpy. Right here, that's where your peaks are. Okay, that's what you have to focus on. And that's really important for people to get. Like, you have to wait until you see something like that. So you're not going to end here until something like that happens, right? So I mean, you have this going on. Like, everybody knows. Well, maybe you don't, but like, this is the U.S. versus Japanese yen. Like, this is what's happening. All right, it's puking. So as this pukes, this is what's going to happen. EWJ, by the way. As that pukes, right? You see the market falling apart here as that relationship pukes. You have to watch this. Like, there's a lot going on here. I'm not going to get into all of it, but something like this you want to watch. This is way more important than people pointing at this chart right now. I'm watching this chart and everyone's like, oh, like all in love with this chart. I'll show you it, and then we'll go from there and start getting into it. Like, everyone's really like super in love with this chart and like, oh, it means this, it means that. I'm not saying I'm not watching it. I even posted it in the room yesterday. But let me show you it. Come on, work with me, not against me. We'll go to the weekly and you'll see it. So the thing is, oh, when it breaks zero, that's it. You have a problem when it breaks zero. Well, here's zero. Okay. There's zero. And so, oh, it's a problem when that happens. And then they say, well, here's when .com blew up. Here's the great financial crisis. And this is why it's so scary. Okay. Or was I supposed to be afraid in 2006 or 2007? Or, when was I supposed to be afraid? Right. I mean, like, it's just nonsense. I'm not saying to not pay attention to it, but like, oh, was I supposed to be afraid here? Or am I supposed to be afraid here in 23? Right? Or May 23, or how should I be afraid now in October when we exploded to the upside, or should I be afraid in January? Oh, but I should be afraid now. See what I'm saying? Like, it's pointless. It's absolutely pointless. If this starts to roll and you get something like this, right? Hold on, let me show you. Like, if you start getting something like that and you can go look historically and say, okay, well, when that happens, that's not the best. right? Like, that's not great. Like, no one's going to say that that's going to be a warm and fuzzy time. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying is like predicting that you're going to see this. You don't know that. You don't know that, right? So watch it if you want to watch it, but you don't know that. The more pressing matter that I think people should be focused on is the VIX. And I don't think you're going to get something like this. You never know, but you need to just get to here before you think that this is really, really over. You need to get to something like a 21, 22. That hands down, you just do. You need to get there. And kind of go from there. I personally still think the spread out there is kind of goofy. So on those bonds, but whatever, it's not up to me to make that. It's up to me to make that decision. It is, it is what it is. But let me get to this real quick, and then we'll get to all the data. I'll get to all of it. I know, I see it, but there's. The market's going to do what the market's going to do, and the market's going to find a reason why it's going to do what it's going to do, right? And what we have to do is just look at the bigger picture and then zoom in, because right now we're on the when. Like, the market's already made its decision on what it's going to do with this information, right? It's going to puke. That's what it's doing. I showed this graph yesterday. I just thought it was interesting. If you overlay this right here, I'll pop it in. Why aren't you populating in now? Now what's your, now you have an error. Fantastic. I mean, when they did these updates, man, they really did a number, didn't they? I guess we're not getting moving averages today. The number of studies participants reached a current subscription. I have the best subscription you can get. You can max out on them? How? It's so exhausting. Is that going to do it? What the heck is going on? That one works. And then you'll do that, but you won't show it. But the one I want, you won't show. This thing's fantastic today. It's like the gift that keeps on giving. Okay, well, if I change it, do you just not want me to see the 55? Is it the man trying to hold me back? Is that what it is? Let's see. That'll work. Okay. Wait, another blessing. So here you are, 41 days out. What I was just pointing out here is that from here, 41 days out is when you broke the 55. And that was earnings. So 41 days after earnings, you broke the 55. 41 days after earnings, you broke the 55. Just keep in mind that the corporate buybacks are coming. Okay. And the corporate buybacks, just FYI, that just happened to fit last time with this as well. All right. So, which is not really great because it means that we're being held up by corporate buybacks. And at some point, they stop doing that, which is not really groovy. So that's not good. I've seen good before. It doesn't look like that. So I don't know why I'm getting that ant. I'll figure it out later. It's just crazy, but whatever. I'll keep moving the average around. They can't hold me back. I can't even hold me back. How are they going to hold me back? All right, so let's get to it. So we went over that. IBM, excellent quarter. You really can't say enough about that quarter. It was really well done. Does it hold? Probably not. I don't think it holds. KLAC crushed. I mean, crushed. Did that finally move higher? Did they finally move it up? Or is that a bad print? They're telling me it's higher now. I don't know that I'm buying that. I was all over the place this morning with this name. I'm really curious how this name opens. It's been all over. This was a really good, solid call with a really solid upgrade. Like, everything was really very well done. Like, everything. The only flaw you could find on it was margins. We're down 1/10, but everything fired like really perfectly when you go and look at the call. So I don't know. I mean, you should see some sense of relief, but I don't think you're going to. I think all you're going to do is see the rally in them, and then they're going to fade them. That's what I think you're going to see. I don't think it's going to hold. It's very hard to just hold this like that. I think you do eventually. I don't think you do today. And you're only down 20 basis points on the NQ. That's nothing. The idea that you're just going to miraculously reverse here is probably pretty not going to happen. I would tell anyone to go and listen to this conference call and go and read this report. I know you guys don't pay attention to this name, but think Maserati, think Alfa Romeo. Listen to what he said about EVs. If they're building EVs, they're toast, according to him. And it's so fascinating because they have government contracts to build these plants. And he's like, we're literally building cars that people are just don't want. Like the consumer does not want the car. So 1191, and you just see Ford this morning. I would imagine that, like, I don't even know how this is up, frankly, but maybe here, maybe it stays up. I don't know. I really don't know how this is staying up considering everything that just came out, but it's kind of hanging in there, isn't it? CMG, let's talk about this. So I thought this was an excellent quarter. I'm kind of digging the white line now. I thought this was an excellent quarter. I did a trade on this. I got a lot of positive feedback. I'm going to walk through how I did the trade. I bought calls, and then I sold the calls, or I sold stock against the calls up here. When it got to 60, I like into this bar, that bar, and then that bar. So my cost was like 59.5 or something. And then when it broke down, I just covered it. And so it paid, I made money off the entire trade, but it paid for the calls. And now I have the call still on. The purpose of doing that is I'm just hedging the risk. I'll walk through a whole video on it, I think. It's a kind of advanced strategy, but a lot of people buy calls and then they don't understand that they can just sell stock against the calls at night. And so they're waiting for the stock to open the next morning, not realizing that they could have just sold here against the call. I don't know that maybe more people know about than I think. Anyway, I think it's an interesting topic to go over. I thought this was a great call. I really do. I thought that this was excellent. You have PCE tomorrow. That's really important. We'll draw levels in a moment. I do want to go through some of these earnings. I'm going to star this. And if you star these, they'll pop up right here so that I can just click on earnings. And you just kind of go through like the big dogs like now. I thought this was a great quarter. I don't think it's going to last. I really don't. I think they're going to fade them. That's kind of where my head is with today. And I could be wrong, but I do. I think they're going to fade them. If you were down and you came in and you were an institution and now you're in all this minutia and you're break even, I just think you're going to get out of the way. CLS was decent. You held. You saw it yesterday with Texas Instruments. I mean, like you're paying for this information, so you might as well use it, right? So like Texas Instruments yesterday, they crushed. It crushed. Look what they did to it. Look how they massacred my boy. Look. Right? All the way down. For what? Because you beat and raised guidance? I mean, when they went out, man, they'll find a reason. That's why it's so important to understand sentiment. All right. All of a sudden, people don't want to fly anymore. And what's crazy is they pre-announced. They pre-announced, and then they're still killing it. It's so difficult, such a difficult, man. I just avoid this, the whole sector. RTX is doing well. I don't know that I'm going to go after that. I'm going to stick with the sectors that I like. Let's go through Tesla, and then we'll go through some levels, and then I'll take questions. But this is what we were talking about, that DTL. You crack that and watch. That level became everything. That whole level became everything. And now you have this. Well, here, I'll show you this first. But wait, there's more. Like, watch. Sit. And then you take your VWAP. You got right to it, and that was it. You really got to start marking these after-hour VWAPs off. I mean, there's so much value in them. It's crazy. Literally the high of the rally. I know people use these, and I'm not saying that usually they're close, but it wasn't even close. Most people are using this, which is fine. I mean, it's your anchored VWAP for the day, and you could argue, well, you got you in there, like on the short side. But everybody that bought after hours, and you start looking at that, realizing that was the high, and people don't leave that on. It's silly. Absolutely silly. And you can just see they got right there, and they're like, I'm break even. So when you left that on, knowing that, and you wanted to short, which I did, like it gives you a spot that not everybody's looking at. You're always looking for an edge. You're fighting for inches. What do I think happens today? I don't know. I think you could probably rally because nobody thinks it can. You know, I mean, that's usually what happens. You know, watch the lows and see how you act at those lows. You're already fighting it right here. You're already trying to flip it. I would watch the anchored VWAP from yesterday, and I'd watch that anchored VWAP again from there. But, you know, all day you're seeing the buyers. So I would look for the push and then seeing if it rolls again. And that's how I would play it. In regards to NVIDIA, I think you have to really watch that here and go, okay, do I really want to short? I don't know. I don't know that you want to get involved in anything yet. I think you really want to watch the open and kind of go from there. But it does feel like you want to fade the winners right now. And I would really be using, like, you look at these levels, it's kind of, I think what I would do really is just have the VIX up all day long and just be watching this and just see it. Like, for example, just go here and set an alert so that you're aware of it if it hits up there. And then the other thing you might want to do is go here and see how that is, and then go, okay, well, maybe we are going to fade, you know, and then maybe get back to that close on where you are. Maybe use that as another guide and say, okay, well, if I get down here, I want to know that too, right? And you're not that far off of that, but if you gap fill and you get through that, maybe you want to watch that. As far as buying the Metas and the Microsofts of the world, I just think it's pointless. I don't know how you can look at these charts and want to get involved. Down, up, 1, 2, 3, down. If you're in the community, you know those patterns by heart. Probably sick of hearing me talk about them. Everything's fine. Come on in. Up 5 basis points. Remember, PCEs tomorrow. Let's go through the data. I'm pretty sure I can do it from here just to save time. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. $2.8. So you got stronger growth. Okay. Durable goods getting smoked. I think I need more. Yeah, let's go down to here and get more. Continuing claims isn't an issue. PCE prices are up. Usually this is like a precursor to what happens with PCE tomorrow, right here. That durable goods order is disgusting. These numbers are so fixed. Was that out loud? Durable goods, month negative, 6.6, but GDP's up. Okay. But sales, okay. Claims 235, that's actually a decent number. PCE prices, quarter over quarter. We just core PCE prices. I don't know. That's kind of that's a pickle. So here you are in April. Actual versus forecast, you're actually down. Okay, so the actual was higher than the forecast, and PCE was still down. Okay, and the actual versus the forecast. Maybe it's being disassociated somehow, or maybe they're not able to raise prices. Maybe this is what GME was talking about. Maybe that's what he was talking about yesterday. Chipotle, they can't pass the pricing on anymore. I mean, at some point, you're not going to spend $47 on a burrito, right? Let's mark up these levels and get to it. What do you need from me, brother? All right, you got it. Yep, I'll do it now. All right, let's go. It's quite a mountain you got to climb. I'd start here. I'd start here with those levels. I mean, that's really. This is ugly, man. Yeah, what I would do is I'd put an alert on that too. I'm a big alert guy, just because if you have so much going on during the day, and then you start sitting here, you know, I'd like to get to that 21. You know what we should check? Hold on. You're probably like, no, that's why I'm watching your video. We should check the new levels and see where they are on the percentages to see how low we are. If we're close to it or not. Let me drop this in here. Can you get up here? I mean, also the other thing, let's play devil's advocate here. Would you want to be short with PCE knowing how CPI came out? Probably not, right? So what's that mean? So that means that you might see buying at the end of the day. You might see short covering, right? I would think that you would. I would think that you would see some short covering. All right, let's leave these on. There's not a ton of levels here, guys. You know, there's not. You have a long way down, man, if this breaks. Like a long way. I don't like that chart. This is why I always say when I look at this, are you just playing with me today? Okay, see, I don't have an hourly here either. What is this thing's issue? Ever since they did this update, they've had more and more bugs. Delayed. So it's reading as if I don't have anything, right? That's how it's reading right now, that I'm delayed, which is crazy. I don't know why they did this. I'll have to figure it out. I have to do it this way. I don't have time to play with it. I don't have time. They did this dumb update, and ever since then, I've had nothing but issues with it. It always kills me. Like, oh, things are going well. Let's do some updates. You think it's CrowdStrike? Just use this, and then I'll go from there. Anybody else having issues with this system? Let me know in the community. Or I'm just being singled out. All right, let's get to it. No one told me I'm in a hole either. This is really disappointing. I'm still in the hole. Maybe I can. No doubt. Okay. Oh, that's nice. All right, let's get to it. 4:50 in the room. It's 9 o'clock. Okay. What's up, Bob? Good morning from Miami. You already seen the outperformance, I think. They're giving me RTY, but they won't give me NQ and ES. I think you're seeing outperformance. These guys can go scratch right now. Like, I've had enough. I can at least see what the heck's going on. So the 5 days are down at 38. You still have a long way to go, man, before this is over. You're still not over there. So IWM, boom. It's not even close. Straight buying since 8:30. It's DPST. Like, how long are you going to keep that down? Doesn't even make any sense. It's 15.9% of the IWM. Let's get to some names. I got to find out why. They must be having issues. I don't know. I don't know that you're going to have I don't know how much of a rally you're going to get today. Honestly, I truly don't know. I'm still leaning towards how I started the day, where my head is. Amgen CBO. What's up, Jacob? I mean, I think it looks great. I actually like biotech a lot here. This is one of those companies you just don't sleep on, man. You just buy it. I remember when they came out and said, we're doing a weight loss drug, and everyone's like, you can't compete. Amgen's a behemoth. They can compete anywhere they want. Yeah, I think this actually makes a lot of sense for what's coming on like the volume side. But I think you have a pretty clear demarcation line there. But if you can get through that, I could see why you'd be interested in that. I wouldn't touch this. I'd be careful of anything like this here. Anything that got to those demarcation lines and it's rejecting, I would just be super careful. I like the engine out of all of those you went over, Jacob. Wait. Happy Thursday, Lise. I just think they're going to fade everything. From burritos to software to hardware, I just think they're going to fade it all. I mean, I probably sound grumpy, but I don't see it changing. I would be real careful here until I saw that VIX start to get pummeled. And it doesn't matter. Like, it's not going to matter the name, guys. It really isn't. You know, I would watch this. You probably have this set up some different way, but like, just watch this. So if you're looking at this is the put call ratio, and you come here and you look at that and realize you're not even moving. And then you go and take a look at like the other times that these spikes happened, right? Pardon me. You got spikes ahead of it. That's like before it ends. So like even here in October, you see these spikes that you would get like 171, 162. So I want to go over this because it's really important. I meant to cover it last night, but there was so much I wanted to cover. And then you have 141. I'm at 99. Like I'm not even spiking. Like there's not even panic to buy puts yet. Like puts are still cheap, which is crazy. But puts are still cheap. So I look at names like IBM and it just makes me think that they're just going to want to lock it in. Like, why wouldn't you just lock it in and just come back to it? I mean, you have so much going on in the world right now. So it's kind of where my head is. Yeah, Lockheed. And then, you know, it's interesting because the guys are in the room are looking at, I didn't chase that yesterday. I'm okay with that. I don't know. I don't chase these names. I think you have to buy these names as value plays when they're blowing up. Like when this blows up and nobody wants it, I think that's when you have to buy these. Because other than that, you're just sitting with them on these earnings rips, and then you could be sitting there for years. So, but I see this, and I saw this too. Like everyone's talking about RTX, and then what's the next one? General Dynamics, right? So, and then you look at defense, and you look at the whole space. You're right there, at least, by the way, on IBM. Like you're right at that critical level. It's right here. We'll be going over it this morning. But I'm just going to be blunt. I mean, on my head, I'm already fading it. Even though it was a great quarter, I just think they're going to fade them. And they might not do it right away. They might do it later in the day. But you're right there. I think you have to watch those defensive names. It's not my kind of trade. What's up, Pablo? I thought it was a really good quarter, man. Do I think it does? I don't know. I'm going to tell you that I think they fade them. I have no idea what's going to happen. I'll trade whatever happens. But it's very rare that you have a bar like this, setting up like this. Like, watch. If they let me, or they're going to, oh, good. Now they're letting me. Oh, no, they're not giving me the 12. It's just another blessing. All right. So you see how they are right here and how this is acting? I don't know that that's just going to miraculously stop. It's very rare for institutions to go, oops, I shouldn't have done that. Like they have a theme and they honor the theme. Remember, institutions like hedge funds, they've been underperforming for years and they're completely crushing right now. They're going to want to lock that in for the year. And I think there's a lot of that people aren't thinking about. But I thought that they did exceptional well. If I was long and I had calls, I'd be getting out. That's where my head would be with it. I'd be getting out. What's up, Tariq? Cool dog. Dude, I'm telling you, I was told there would be robots. What's up, Journal? What's up, Steve? What's up, Sim? What's up, Joe? What's up, Hunter? Yeah, I'm wondering that. I wonder if Kamala's going to go. Bread and circuses. It's absolutely crazy. What a crazy time to be alive, right? The Bitcoin conference, all the presidents want to go and be cool. Usually these events are sell the news. So where my head would be, like, you're probably not going to want to hear this, but I'll just tell you, like, my head would be to buy puts on coin and MSTR and to sell into the event. Like, I would buy puts or short it. I had a real nice trade in it the other day, long. I did the follow through trade here, and I'm very happy with how I did on it. But see, when it comes to selling and protection of capital, people don't care. Like the rhyme and reason, they're just going to get out. But I don't know, man. I think that's kind of played out a little bit. I will eventually. I think you could see 97, actually. I think 97 is pretty much like a washout level. But, you could be washed out here. I find this very telling that corporate buybacks start, and this is right where corporate buybacks started again on the whole market. But it doesn't mean it's going to play out the same way, but I do find it telling. And it's certainly on my radar today, but I don't know. You don't have to usually, like, it's very rare you're going to crack like this, guys, and then everyone's going to go, oops, and then just start buying back, and you're just going to rip. You would need a news-driven event, some kind of news-driven event. We don't have anything right now. BRT, like those secondary names, I just have to be careful right now. You have to really be careful with these, like really be careful with these right now. That's like a golf ball through a garden hose, man. Everybody's in these crowded trades, and when they want to get out, well, they're deleveraging the inflation trade, right? So they're just deleveraging it. That is the single worst vehicle that I've ever traded in my life. Silver. If you ever hear that I'm long silver, just fade me. You'll make so much money. I don't have a vehicle that I do worse with. I have friends that's all they do is trade. They literally just trade the silver. That's all they do. And they will literally tell me what they're doing, and they make their living trading silver. And I just does not work for me for whatever reason. Maybe I'm a werewolf. Happy Thirsty Thursday. Wakey. Probably not the worst idea, man. What's going on, Cal? Can always get worse, man. I'd love a good flush. 97. I mean, my levels really are like this. Like when I really look at it, you're right here, right? You're here, 107, 101, and 97. Let me get to the end of this. And yeah, that's what happens. Kava. Yeah, I saw that. They're talking about that event. And maybe it trades up on it. That looks like that's gross. Well, they thought they were going to make all this money with the new AI stuff, and they have some really cool functionality, but I think the revenue projections on what this stuff was going to do is grossly exceeded everyone's expectations. I mean, look, that's a really simple trade, right? Here's your pendant, you broke it. There's your breakdown bar. You short it, and that's your stop. I mean, that's like a textbook trade. But you could do that with NVIDIA. You could play that call. Do I think a short's too late? I think the easy money on the short's too late. I mean, you got to realize you're shorting a company that's still growing at 100%. That's $1 trillion company, and everybody can't get their chips. So, I don't know, man. There's much better shorts out there. Just short AMD. It's a pig. I mean, that's like the easiest short in the world. You know, if you ever want to short a semiconductor, just think of like, oh, AMD, nobody wants their product. Maybe short that one. You know, I mean, nobody wants it. Oh, you're welcome, dude. I got to get on this. I'm usually a little more organized, to be honest, but for whatever, I do way too much in the morning. They're prying stock from weak paper-like hands. Yeah, I think that now, I mean, look, now's quarter was excellent. I want to be real clear about this when I say that these things are going to fade. I just think people are in protection mode. And that's why I'm saying it's going to fade. That was a great quarter. Let me be really clear about this. Now was a great quarter. IBM was a great quarter. Like if you're a long-term investor, like now was a great quarter. IBM was a great quarter. Clack, banging quarter. I just don't think it's going to matter. I just really don't think it's going to matter right off the open. I got to jump, guys. Trade to win.